Noah Vale learned to count money before he learned to sleep. At 23, he could hear the difference between a card declined because of a bad connection and a card declined because the account was empty. The hospital payment terminal made the second sound. A thin red message blinked under the amount for Mira's treatment, and Noah kept his thumb on the screen as if pressure could change math. Behind the glass wall, his sister sat on the edge of a narrow bed, wearing an oversized gray hoodie and pretending the Roman IV tape on her arm did not itch. She was 15, pale from Kessler's syndrome, and still trying to make Noah laugh with her eyes. Noah smiled back because that was cheaper than telling the truth. Then he turned away from the counter before the clerk could say sorry. Outside, rain pressed the city flat. Noah checked his delivery app, his rent reminder, and the cracked corner of his bank screen, $26.40. That was what stood between him and the next bad decision. He accepted every delivery that appeared, even the ones that crossed flooded streets or climbed apartment towers with broken elevators. He told himself he was not desperate. Desperate people made mistakes. Noah was only tired, only wet. Only one late fee away from losing the room where Mira kept her schoolbooks in a cardboard box. Each time his phone buzzed, he hoped it was a tip. Each time it was a collector, he let it ring until the screen went dark. By midnight, the city looked like it had been drawn in leaking ink. Near 1 in the morning, Noah returned to the hospital with cold food in a paper bag and mud on his shoes. Mira was awake. Of course she was. She had a talent for catching him before he could arrange his face into something convincing. She asked if the payment went through. Noah said the system was slow tonight. Mira looked at him for a long second, then nodded like she was letting him keep the lie for now. That was worse than being caught. He sat beside her bed and split the food into 2 equal halves, giving her the warmer one. In the hallway, nurses moved with quiet speed. Somewhere beyond the double doors, a monitor began to scream. Noah looked up as 2 paramedics rushed in with a man on a stretcher, rainwater dripping from the wheels. The man on the stretcher wore a black coat torn at the shoulder. His face was hidden by an oxygen mask, but one hand hung loose over the side. A cracked phone slipped from that hand and skidded across the polished floor until it stopped near Noah's shoe. Nobody noticed. Everyone was watching the nurses fight for a pulse. Noah bent down to pick it up, meaning only to return it. The screen was still on. It showed a banking app Noah did not recognize. There was no account name, no menu, no logo, only one line in the middle of the screen. Tomorrow's balance, $0.00. Noah stared at it longer than he should have. Then the monitor inside the trauma room went flat and the phone in his hand felt suddenly heavier. Noah stepped toward the desk to hand the phone over. His own phone was still in his other hand, open to the failed hospital payment. The 2 screens came close. For half a second, both devices brightened, not like a notification, but like they had recognized each other. Noah's bank app froze. The dead man's phone flashed once, then went black. Noah's phone shut itself down and opened again without being touched. The hospital payment page vanished. His ordinary bank app returned, same balance, same logo, same ugly blue buttons. But under the balance was a new line he had never seen before. Tomorrow's balance, $4,812.40. Noah almost dropped the phone. $4,000 was not a number. It was rent. It was medicine. It was a door opening in a wall. At first, Noah blamed exhaustion. He refreshed the app. The line stayed. He closed it, opened it, restarted the phone, and held it under the broken bathroom light as if a crack in the glass could explain tomorrow. Nothing changed, so he tested it the only way he trusted. Small. He declined a far delivery. Tomorrow's balance dropped by $19. He accepted it again. The number rose. He bought a vending machine coffee. The number fell by $2.50 before the machine even warmed the cup. He took a different hallway and passed an old woman struggling with a bag. When he helped her, she pressed a folded 20 into his hand, and the future balance moved before the bill touched his pocket. Noah stopped breathing for a second. The app was not predicting money. It was measuring consequences. By dawn, Noah had a page of notes written on the back of a discharge form. The app only showed his own tomorrow balance. Not Mira's, not the hospital's, not the old woman's, his. If he asked the wrong question, the app gave no answer. If he made a real choice, the number shifted. Money he could earn, money he could lose, fees, tips, refunds, consequences. But when he imagined Mira getting worse, the line did not turn into some magic warning about her. It stayed stubbornly his. That scared him more than if it had shown everything. A tool with one rule was useful. A tool with one rule was also a trap. And somewhere in the hospital morgue, a dead stranger had reached 0 before the phone came to Noah. Mira noticed the change before Noah said a word. She noticed everything. She asked why he kept checking his phone like it owed him an apology. Noah told her he had found a better delivery route. Mira said better routes did not make people look terrified. For a moment, Noah almost told her. Then a nurse entered with a clipboard and the room became practical again. Treatment extension. Payment deadline, charity assistance denied. Noah read the words twice, because the first time they made no sense. Denied. He looked at Mira, then at his phone. Tomorrow's balance had fallen below $300. When he stepped into the hall, it rose by $6. When he walked toward the charity office, it rose by another 30. The app was pulling him somewhere. The hospital charity office was on the top floor, behind glass doors and soft chairs nobody in Noah's life had time to sit in. A poster showed smiling donors under gold letters. Tomorrow begins here. Noah almost laughed. A receptionist told him applications were reviewed monthly. Mira did not have a month. Noah stepped away, checked the app, and watched Tomorrow lose another $40. He turned back toward the office. The number climbed. He asked for a manager. It climbed again. He saw a flyer on the desk for that night's gala, a private donor event hosted by the Sane Foundation. The moment Noah touched the flyer, the number jumped by $500. He did not know what waited inside that room. He only knew every other path was closing. Noah did not own clothes that belonged near a gala. He borrowed a jacket from a neighbor who asked no questions because people in cheap buildings knew the kindness of not asking. The sleeves were too long. His shoes were still delivery shoes, wiped clean until the cracks looked like old scars. Mira watched him from the hospital bed and told him he looked like a waiter who had lost a fight with a tax form. Noah laughed for real, then hated himself for how badly he needed that sound. He promised he would fix it. Mira did not ask how. She only told him not to sell his kidney because she was pretty sure the warranty on his body had expired. Noah said he would keep both kidneys if the market was bad. Sane Foundation Gala glowed like a different city had been built inside the hospital. Crystal lights, white flowers, cameras, donors laughing with clean teeth. On the walls, patient stories rotated across giant screens, each one polished into hope. Noah recognized none of them. He checked his phone under the borrowed sleeve. Tomorrow's balance rose when he moved toward the service hallway and fell when he approached the exit, so he followed the rise. Near the media room, a young accountant dropped a folder. Papers slid across the floor. Noah helped gather them before security could notice him. The accountant whispered thanks, eyes wide with the panic of someone carrying something too heavy. Noah saw one page before it disappeared back into the folder. Patient profile group B, publicity value low. Security noticed him anyway. First one guard, then two. Noah moved through the edge of the gala with his head down, pretending to belong to the kind of work nobody thanked. His phone battery flashed red, 4%. Tomorrow's balance trembled with every step. Exit doors made it fall. The media room made it rise. The accountant stood near a side door, arguing softly with a man in a black suit. Noah could not hear the words, but he saw the folder shake in her hands. Then Victor Sane stepped onto the stage. The applause changed shape around him. It became obedient. Victor smiled like a man who had practiced compassion in a mirror. He began speaking about children, tomorrow, and the sacred duty of generosity. Noah slipped through the side door as security closed in from behind. The room inside was dark except for laptop screens and tangled cables. A technician's chair sat empty. On the main laptop, the charity slideshow waited in full-screen preview. Noah's phone hit 2%. He saw an outlet beside the laptop and plugged in without thinking. The screen on his phone brightened. The hidden line flickered. Tomorrow's balance rose, fell, rose again, as if the app were trying to choose between several futures at once. Then a progress circle appeared on Noah's bank app, even though he had not touched anything. Sinking. The gala applause thundered through the wall. On the laptop beside him, a folder opened by itself. The ballroom screens changed. The smiling patient stories vanished. In their place came spreadsheets, scanned signatures, shell company transfers, and rows of patient names sorted by something no charity should measure. Publicity value, donor appeal, reject, delay, convert to campaign asset. The room went silent in pieces. A donor laughed once, thinking it was a mistake. Then Mira's name appeared. Mira Vale, assistance rejected, no publicity value. Noah felt the floor move under him. He had not planned this. He had not hacked anything. He had only followed the number, helped a stranger, hidden from security, and plugged in a dying phone. But the room did not know that. Cameras turned. The accountant started crying. Victor Sane stopped smiling. Everything after that happened too fast and too slowly. Security grabbed Noah, then released him when reporters shouted his name. Donors demanded answers. Hospital executives tried to block the screens, which only made the cameras zoom closer. The accountant handed her folder to a journalist with both hands. Noah stumbled back into the hallway, shaking so hard he could barely unlock his phone. Tomorrow's balance spun upward. 10,000. 90,000, 400,000, then more. Calls arrived from numbers he did not know. Legal offices, reporters, a donor's assistant, someone from the hospital board asking where Mira Vale was and promising that her treatment would be covered immediately. Noah leaned against the wall and laughed once because if he did not laugh, he would fall down. When Noah returned to Mira's room, a different doctor was already there. The treatment extension had been approved. A donor fund had been opened in Mira's name. The hospital was suddenly very sorry. Mira looked at Noah, then at the people standing too politely around her bed and understood enough to wait until they left. When the door closed, she asked what he had done. Noah said he was not completely sure. That was the first honest thing he had told her all day. His phone buzzed again. Tomorrow's balance, $1,204,812.40. Mira saw his face change and asked if that was good. Noah wanted to say yes. For one perfect second, he believed it was. Then the hallway outside Mira's room went quiet. Not hospital quiet, chosen quiet. Noah stepped out and saw Victor Sane waiting near the vending machines, untouched by the storm he had just walked through. No guards crowded him. No reporters followed him. He held the dead man's cracked phone in one hand. Its screen was black. Victor looked at Noah's phone, then at Noah with the calm interest of someone recognizing property. He said that Tomorrow had finally found another owner. Noah did not answer. He did not need to. His bank app opened by itself. The $1 million number flickered. The digits drained so quickly they blurred. Tomorrow's balance, $0.00. This time, Noah understood the rule. The app was not showing Mira's future. It was not punishing him for saving her. It was showing his own tomorrow, and tomorrow had just disappeared. Behind him, Mira was alive. Her treatment was covered. For the first time in years, Noah had bought her time. But in front of him stood a man who knew what the number meant, knew who had carried it before, and knew how owners reached zero. Noah closed his hand around the cracked phone in his pocket and looked at Victor Sane. The miracle had saved his sister. Now Noah had 24 hours to survive it.